In Metal Gear Solid, we will meet Revolver Ocelot, acting as the first real boss fight. Ocelot will be deep in a room that holds the president of Arms Tech, Kenneth Baker. Depending on how well we do, Ocelot will change his dialogue with Snake.
You're pretty good. Just what I'd expect from the man with the same code as the boss. It's been a long time since I had such a good fight, but I'm just getting warmed up. What? My hand! Stealth camouflage. Can't you even die right? You were lucky. We'll meet again! Who are you? I like you. I have no name.
However, this changes if we get enough game overs during the fight, as Ocelot will change his tune about Snake completely.
I'm disappointed. You're no match for the boss. Playtime's over, friend. You're not cut out for war. Don't worry. I'll kill you quickly. What? Ah! Stealth camouflage. Can't you even die right? You were lucky. We'll meet again! Who are you? I like you. I have no name.
This stands true for the Twin Snakes as well.
You're pretty good. Just what I'd expect from the man with the same code as the boss. It's been a long time since I had such a good fight, but I'm just getting warmed up. What? My hand! Stealth camouflage. Can't you even die right? You were lucky. We'll meet again. Who are you? And like you, I have no name.
Of course, this changes when the same circumstances are met.
I'm disappointed. You're no match for the boss. Playtime's over, friend. You're not cut out for war. Don't worry. I'll kill you quickly. What?
In Metal Gear Solid, we can find a ton of hidden story elements and fun Easter eggs, and a few of them can be found in Hal Emmerich's laboratory. We will finally meet up with the cyborg ninja when first getting to the lab. After defeating him, we are freer to look around the area, and there are many cool things to find. First, before we even get to the entrance of the office, we can see the words HAL's Lab written on the door that leads to the hallway. This is likely a reference to HAL Labs, where game lead Hideo Kojima's good friend Masahiro Sakurai formerly worked. Inside the office, we can see some posters on the wall. One is of Zone of the Enders, and the other is of Police Knots, two past Kojima projects. On the desk in the middle of the room, we can find a PlayStation console and controller, a fun nod to the gaming system we are playing this on. Things change up a bit in the Twin Snakes remake, where only one poster can be seen featuring Zone of the Enders, the second runner. In the right corner of the room, we can find small figures of Mario and Yoshi. Shooting Mario will prompt a 1-up noise and text while refilling some of Snake's health. Shooting Yoshi will cause the figure to make Yoshi's signature sound. In this version, the desk in the center of the room has a GameCube console and controller with a monitor showing the start screen of the Nintendo system. The small attention to detail in the Metal Gear Solid series has never been short of incredible, and these are just a few pieces of that puzzle. In Metal Gear Solid, after the fight with Gray Fox, Snake will need to find Meryl in the B1 area of the nuke building. We can notice how Meryl walks to pick her out from the other guard on duty. Her swagger is more pronounced in the Twin Snakes remake. Once Meryl notices Snake, we can follow her into the bathroom. Doing so quickly will result in Meryl still being in her underwear because she won't have enough time to finish dressing. This stays the same in the Twin Snakes remake as well.
You're Meryl? There's no way you could pass for a man for long.
Once we are ready to move forward, we can use the first-person view to stare at Meryl. Doing so will cause her to blush and turn redder and redder as time goes on, all while giving little one-liners about being stared at.
What are you staring at? Come on, Snake.
The reactions here are actually a bit different in the Twin Snakes remake.
What? What is it? Why are you staring at my... What are you thinking?
In Metal Gear Solid 2, there are a few things and small details that people may miss right at the beginning. And one of the first is that we can control the camera during the Kodak calls with the left and right stick, zooming by clicking either one down. Diving into the water here, we can find a set of thermal goggles, nice to have so early. Speaking of the water, the sea lice that litter the area have a few minor details as well. Raiden can step on them, squishing them right in front of their friends and family for a start. If we lay down and crawl into a group of the bugs, we can see them crawling all over Raiden's body. If we have rations in the inventory, the sea lice will attach to them, slowly draining the ration, prompting Campbell to call about how to stop them.
Raiden, the sea lice are getting fat on your rations. Shake the equipment window to get rid of the bugs.
You can go into first person mode, and while Raiden is wearing this mask, we will be able to hear his breathing. While you're in first person mode, make sure to check out those diving suits, which are a direct reference to Police Knots, a previous game from Hideo Kojima. And speaking of Kojima, if we enter the developers' names into the node when we first approach it, it will fill out the rest of the questions with the correct data for the person in real life. If you set the birth date to the same as the console's date, the node will have this special message. Once on the roof, watch out for the bird droppings, as Raiden can slip and fall on them. And if you look up in first person, you will get quite a surprise from the goals. After such events, it would make sense that Raiden would be taking his anger out on these birds, but if we indulge too much, Campbell and Rose will call and be rightfully pretty pissed off.
Raiden, do you actually enjoy abusing helpless animals?
I don't believe this. I had no idea you were that kind of a monster.
I don't understand you, Raiden. If you're satisfied, get back to the mission.
In Metal Gear Solid, the Kodak is a handy tool. Right off the bat, Snake would not be able to talk to his team without it. But the information that can be missed is sometimes pretty helpful. For example, when you first find the Soakum, which can be in a few locations, but the back of the truck at the heliport is the first place we see it, make sure to call Campbell. He will give you a rundown of the weapon and the Kodak frequency to Nastasha Romanenko.
Good. You've got yourself a weapon. To use it,
First, hold down the R2 button to enter weapon mode. Then select the weapon you want with the directional button. After you've selected the weapon you want, let go of the R2 button to exit weapon mode. The weapon you selected should appear in your hand. To use the weapon, follow the directions displayed in the window. If you use the R1 button, you can equip your weapon more quickly. While you're barehanded, press the R1 button to equip the last weapon you used. Press the R1 button while you're holding a weapon to be barehanded again. Don't fire your gun needlessly, or you might be discovered. If you had a gun with a suppressor, it would be a different story. If you have any questions about weapons or equipment, you should ask our military analyst, Nastasha. Her frequency is 141.52.
Now, anytime you find a weapon, Campbell will teach you how to use it, and Nastasha will give you some lore behind each piece you are holding when you call her.
Хорошо. Good. You found a SOCOM. That's a Special Operations Command pistol. It's a 45 caliber pistol with plenty of stopping power. It's also equipped with a LAM for nighttime combat. If you hold down the weapon button, you can train the laser sight on the enemy to help you aim. If you find a SOCOM suppressor, you can equip that too. That pistol was designed specifically for use by special forces, so I think it will be useful. Some people find it a little heavy and hard to use, but it shouldn't be a problem for you.
This goes for boss fights as well. Calling Campbell will have Naomi fill you in on each member of Foxhound you come across, and Nastasha will give you tips about how to fight each boss.
If you've got a question about Foxhound, ask Dr. Naomi.
Revolver Ocelot is a former member of Spetsnaz. After the fall of the Soviet Union, he apparently served in the Russian tax police's elite SWAT team. After that, he joined the SVR, the Russian Foreign Intelligence Agency, which was formerly a part of the KGB. But according to my sources, he was dissatisfied with the rigid system of the KGB and wanted to get out. That's when he was recruited by Foxhound. He's a gun fanatic and totally obsessed with cowboy movies and spaghetti westerns. He's also something of a sadist. He learned the most advanced torture techniques while he was with Spetsnaz.
Yeah, he had plenty of practice. Lubyanka prison is located right there inside KGB headquarters. In a gunfight, reloading is usually the most dangerous time. But he loves it. Use that to your advantage. You'll have to take him out when he's reloading. Can you see where his number of remaining bullets is displayed on the screen? Wait for the right moment and then take him out.
Using a single-action army? The first model of that gun was made in 1873, over 130 years ago. Today, they're still being made in small numbers, but that's just for collectors and such. Nobody uses them in combat anymore. The biggest drawback to revolver-style handguns is reload time. That's your chance.
In Metal Gear Solid, we will get a call from McDonald Miller, Snake's mentor. Miller is an expert on the Alaskan frontier and can give Snake various tips about the environment and animal life found in the wilderness. Before Miller reveals himself to be Liquid Snake, we can get some rather trolly and humorous lines from his Kodak calls. This could be part of him showing that he isn't really who he says he is.
Snake, that floor is designed so that your footsteps echo. Listen, Snake, there's a way to walk so your footsteps won't be heard. I call it stalking. Here's how you do it. First, put your weight on the opposite foot that you're going to step with. Then, take a step so that your heel makes contact with the ground first. Then, as you slowly lower the tip of your foot to the floor, gradually shift your weight onto that foot. Use your knees to maintain the subtle balance. Try it.
I can't do it.
Another way is to wear your socks over your shoes. If you crawl on your stomach, you won't make any noise either. People who have been through war and survived develop a kind of sixth sense to warn them of danger. Trust your instincts as a soldier, as a gamer.
When we are in the Nuke Building B2 area in Metal Gear Solid, make sure to stop by this room in the hallway as we can find Konami's signature Moai head inside on a desk. This statue is modeled after the head seen on Easter Island, which is why Konami uses them in nearly every game as an Easter egg. We can find the same thing here in the Twin Snakes remake, but of course, due to the graphical upgrades, we can see the Moai in much greater detail. There are many small details and hidden features in Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. One of the earliest that we can encounter is making Snake sick with the survival viewer. By going into the pause menu and opening the survival viewer, we can spin Snake around a few times, which will cause him to vomit when we return to the game again. In Metal Gear Solid, we see that Solid Snake was able to bring his favorite items with him into Shadow Moses.
Remember, except for your binoculars, you're naked. You need to arm yourself with whatever weapons you can find.
I remember. First I'm strip searched by Dr. Naomi here, and then all my weapons are taken away. Imagine yourself put in that position.
Well, if you make it back in one piece, maybe I'll let you do a strip search on me.
I'll hold you to that, Doctor. By the way, sorry to disappoint you, but I did manage to smuggle out my smokes.
How did you do that?
In my stomach. Thanks to the shot you gave me that suppressed my stomach acids.
Cigarettes? How are those going to help you?
You never know.
While Snake may love the bold flavor of his cigarettes, the other crew members won't be so thrilled to see him smoking. Calling Naomi and Mei Ling, we'll see Snake getting some pretty severe lectures from both ladies.
Are you smoking?
Yeah, so what?
Didn't you know that cigarettes contain benzopyrene, a chemical that leads to lung cancer? We now know that when benzopyrene enters the body, it changes to benzopyrene diolipoxide, BPDE, and attaches to the receptors on the P53 gene, the gene which causes lung cancer. The BPDE attaches to the P53 gene in 3 specific locations and causes precancerous changes to the lung tissue.
You know a lot about science, but you don't know how good a cigarette tastes in the morning.
Snake, are you smoking a cigarette? Cigarettes are poison. They kill people. Didn't you hear what Dr. Naomi said? He that cuts off 20 years of life cuts off so many years of fearing death. Is that why you smoke, Snake? You're too afraid of life?
While Nastasha Romanenko will have a bit of a different reaction.
Nuclear weapons, nuclear reactors, hazardous waste. We are constantly being exposed to plutonium and other radioactive materials. Compared to that, smoking seems not so bad, no?
In Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, if you want to get the stealth camouflage, you will have to look for the keratin frogs that appear throughout the game. These cute little guys show up in the damnedest places, and shooting them counts towards unlocking the camo. This changes a bit in the 3DS remake, where the frogs are switched to Yoshi figures to celebrate being on the Nintendo handheld system. These Yoshis are not in the same places as the frogs in the original version though. Similarly, the GAKO camo that can be used to locate frogs in Snake Eater is replaced with the fruit camo in the 3DS version. This is modeled after the fruit that Yoshi eats in the Super Mario series and will draw Snake closer to the Yoshis by allowing us to hear their calls. This is a fun way to change it up between the versions and a great way to show love for the Nintendo overlords.
Squeeze my hog.